Make sure that you're aware that our presentation is being recorded today so that those who are not able to be here can access that recording at a later date, or yourself. We're making these available to each of you as well so that you can go back and view something that maybe caught your eye that you wanted to refresh your memory on or see again. So we want to make sure that you're aware, though, that our presentation is being recorded. As I said, besides myself on the line today, we have Martha Hornbossel from Lynn Community Nursing Home, who's the music and memory coordinator there, and she's going to talk a little bit about her project there. And then also Matt Nutter, who is at Pinnacle Ridge Nursing and Rehab in the Kansas City area. It's going to talk about their music and memory program and both give you some good ideas about how they implemented it. There are some differences, and I think that'll be some interest to you as well. I am expecting to have Stephanie Hoffman on the line, although I don't see her having joined the webinar yet. Stephanie is from Music and Memory. She was on our call last month, and I expected her to be here, so hopefully she'll be joining shortly, and it'll be just another opportunity for you to ask questions of somebody from Music and Memory later on in our presentation. So before I send this over to the other folks, I want to kind of update you on where our project is at. We are, many of you would have participated in the training earlier this month, so almost all of our facilities were scheduled to do that in the second week of April. And we've got a couple, though, that were not able to do the certification training then. We'll get them trained next month in May. And so at that point, we should have everybody trained. If there's something I don't know about your facility that you didn't get that done or you need to do this again, just let me know and we'll see that we can get you on a subsequent call either in May or after that if necessary. So we should be moving pretty well ahead on the certification trainings, and then now getting started. Our office is starting to deliver some of our starter kits. Some of our regional ombudsmen, I believe, have actually started to deliver a couple, but it may still be another week or two, or maybe even 3 before we get to your building, because this is a big project and kind of in addition to our normal workload. So it may be a few more weeks before you get that delivered. So don't get excited if you don't have it yet or don't get it in the next week. In fact, I still have 6 or 7 kits still in my office that aren't in the hands of the regional yet. So it's not unusual that you wouldn't have that yet, but we will get that to you. We're continuing to offer ongoing support, both from our office and wanting to make sure that you are aware of support through Music and Memory program as well. So we're going to continue to do these monthly webinars and schedule them. Our plan always for this 4th Tuesday. We'll let you know if that changes, but you can just sort of plan on that every month. And then our regional ombudsmen also are there to provide support for you. So if you've got questions, don't hesitate to ask them, ask anybody, ask them, ask me. The folks at Music Memory are very much there to help you and want you to succeed. So ask them, and I think even our presenters today are going to offer that they're there as a resource as well. So you've got lots of support from our office and as well as from Music and Memory. One of the things I wanted to make sure that you were aware of is this Care Communities website. If you've been through the training and you're not able to access that yet, please, I've got a website for you to email Music and Memory and let them know that you haven't gotten the email from them to access that. That is a great website with a lot of really good support. You'll also see on their website some information about monthly support calls, which are just calls that are designed for folks across the country to talk about Music and Memory and implementation and getting this off the ground in your building. There'll be people from Music and Memory, different person hosting it each month, and just there to give, again, another option for support. They also have a monthly topics calls. That's a similar kind of a call, only it's geared at a certain topic. So I'll tell you that I participated in, I think it was last week's call, and that was on care planning. So it talked about the care planning for music and memory and gave ideas and thoughts. So that's a really good resource. Both of these two, the support calls and the topic calls for music and memory, is a relatively new thing, as is the Care Community website. So there's a lot of really cool things happening to help you all be successful. So I want to make sure that you're aware of all of those things. Another piece of great news, for those of you that have not gotten your starter kits yet, we've had a little bit of a change. So we were able to get a little better pricing than what we had budgeted for some of our equipment, and we're passing that on to you in the form of some additional supplies in your starter kit. So rather than receiving one splitter, you will each be receiving 5 splitters. And then rather than a $25 iTunes gift card, it will be a $50 gift card instead. And so I'm very excited about that. I think having that additional money in the iTunes gift card will really be beneficial, and I'm thrilled that we're able to improve on our starter kit that we're going to offer to you. And again, I've got information about contacting us, if you need to contact us, or viewing the Music and Memory, their website, contacting our regional, or information about our Music and Memory website. So on our website, the first website that you see on ombudsman.ks.gov, resources/music and memory, that's a page on our website that's got information on music and memory, information about our project. That's where you'll be able to find recordings of all of these webinars. So if you go out there today, you'll see a link to the recording from last month's webinar. So if you wanted to get back and look at that, you'll see a copy of the slide presentation, the slide deck that I used for that presentation. And we'll do that for all of these monthly webinars as we go forward. So that's kind of everything that I have to update you all on. But what I'd like to do now then is turn this over to Martha, who's going to talk to you about what it was like to implement this in her building. So if you just give me a minute to change things here IT-wise, and we will make Martha our new presenter. And you should hopefully see her slideshow and information here as soon as she has a minute or two to share her screen with you. There we go.
And you see my screen?
Yep, I can see it, Martha.
And you can hear me too, right?
I can hear you too.
All right. Okay, well, I'm Martha Hornbuckle, and I'm here to encourage all of you that are in small areas that music and memory will work just as well in a rural area as it does in a big city. We're in Lynn in Washington County, which is up here in the north central part of the state, which is supposed to get pounded this afternoon with bad weather. We had tennis ball size hail in the area this morning about 3:30 to start things off. We are so rural, it's 33 miles to the nearest Walmart. It's 77 miles to the nearest Votech, 40 miles to the nearest 2-year college, and 60 miles to the nearest 4-year college, just in case you're wondering how rural is that. We are a nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit that was built in 1970. Our home was founded by community leaders and local churches. We have 60 beds and 70 employees. We have no major donors, and we have no auxiliary. We had no formal volunteer program either before this started. We are real big into person-directed care and culture change at Lynn Nursing Home. We also are a home that educates others. We offer CNA and CMA classes. Our dietary manager is a certified ServSafe instructor who's also beginning to offer classes. And as a home, we offer the Listen and Learn series with topics to educate our community about issues facing aging. We are currently at 0% usage of antipsychotics as part of our culture change. We are members of the Great Plains Quality Care Collaborative, and we are a PEAK member. How we got started was we had admin and staff buy-in. we had a music volunteer who wanted to be part of the program and wanted someone to be with every elder when they experienced that aha moment, and that volunteer was me. We also had a champion, a man who loves his wife that has Alzheimer's. He loves our home, and he believes in music and memory, and he tells everyone he knows about all three of them. A brief mention by him in a newspaper interview is what touched off all the media attention that we received. As the volunteer that took charge of this program, I looked to the high school for manpower. Being in a small community of 395, there aren't a whole lot of people available during the day that aren't working. So what we expected was to start small. We figured we'd start with our control group of 5 to 7 elders. We were hoping to get 5 to 7 high school volunteers. We hoped that a $400 fundraiser was going to throw us over. We were so excited to think that we would get $400. And the FCCLA from the high school was going to do that fundraiser for us. We were going to train staff to use music and memory and turn our control group over to them, and then we were going to evaluate and give the music and memory to another group of 4 to 7 elders. So that's what we expected, and what we got was Hannah, Maggie, and Caitlin, and I'd like to introduce you to them right now. Hannah Bott, say hi.
Hi.
They can't see you wave. And Caitlin Oldie.
Hi.
And Maggie Bott.
Hi.
These gals are members of the Lynn High School Family Career and Community Leaders of America, the FCCLA, and they became my legs. Whatever I had thought of, they took and ran with and made it their project. And then after we got Hannah and Maggie and Caitlin, we also got 28 students from a student body of 65 that lined up to volunteer. And a week after that, the basketball coach called and volunteered the entire boys basketball team of 15. Students received 1 hour community service credit with each visit that they made at the nursing home, and we didn't lose a single volunteer from December to the end of April. Out of a total possible 473 visits, the students made 335 between December 1st and April 22nd of this school year. So what did the girls do? I'm going to let them tell you what they did. You can read it or you can just tell them what you did.
Go first, Maggie. Okay. Well, I don't know.
Just tell them. They were my liaison. They became my conduit between the high school and the nursing home.
So first we had to research what dementia was because we really didn't know very much about it. And we were having a fun walkathon at our school, and we went to our principal and asked if we could tie the music and memory program into it and just create a big fundraiser out of it to go for it. And we ended up getting $820 for that. Oh yeah, and there was 250 students, staff, and community members that came and walked.
We also applied for a community grant, which was $400, and we $700. And we actually just read that we got it, so we're very happy about that one. So what we really had to do, we had to do all the fundraising. Martha helped us a lot with that. And then we engraved all the iPods, and we set up the storage cabinets, and then we labeled all the equipment.
We had to arrange a high school presentation about music and memory, dementia, and we had to recruit the volunteers. So Martha came to the school and kind of told us what the music and memory program was all about, and we had people sign up. And then later we had a volunteer training meeting, and we got a booklet of what was expected, a volunteer manual, yes. And then we had our first visit to the nursing home after that.
Caitlin, can you tell them what your response was when you first came to the nursing home? Were you excited?
No, I did not want to come. I was so scared, and I almost said, you guys can do this all by yourselves, and I will just sit back and watch you guys. Like, I did not want to do it. I was terrified.
Were Maggie and Caitlin and Maggie and Hannah? Well, how did you guys feel about coming?
I wasn't as scared as Caitlin, but I was nervous about it.
Yeah.
I was more nervous about I was like overwhelmed
with everything we had to do and how big it got and how quickly it got big.
Right, right. Okay. So in the midst of everything that they did, these girls also maintained their high honor roll status. They're all 3 sports players, and they have achieved all kinds of other honors also. And then they gave 3 presentations about what they've done as part of the FCCLA, and they have qualified to present at national competition in San Diego, California in July, and we're just a little bit proud of what they've done. So the student volunteers basically became my legs. They each went to, instead of having a control group of 5 to 7, we now had a control group of 28. And so the kids each went to the rooms and had a piece of paper with them that I had prepared, and they would listen to the songs that I gave to the elders to listen to, and they became me, and they wrote down, this is a good song, this is a bad song, we want more of this, we don't want this one. If the elders weren't available, they just visited with them, or they went to another elder. The basketball boys that came over once a week, we utilized them for what we called guide time, and they would spend time just with the men of the facility. One of the things that was really important to Lynn Nursing Home was that community engagement. In a small town, if it's not in the paper in front of everybody's face every week, it's not really out there. And the other thing is, in our small town, in our weekly newspaper, the only thing in the paper every week is obituaries and births and what's going on at the school. So as long as we could keep the girls in the news, we could have that music and memory out there somehow. We wanted to develop that familiarity in the community because we have a dream of bringing this program to homebound elders. But we also want to develop more volunteers, and we want to develop donors for the program. So that's why we developed a media plan. We actually had a plan to use our weekly paper and Facebook, and to keep it in front of everyone. And what happened was it just blew up because of our champion who made a comment to one reporter who then we made the radio and Kansas Public Radio and the news and everything from that point. That wasn't in our plan, but it ended up working very much to the advantage of music and memory and getting the word out there. I have some helpful hints for starting out. And girls, if you think of something that I've missed, please feel free to say so. The first one is to get familiar with the tools of your trade and don't be too proud to ask for help. I had never run an iPod shuffle before. I've worked on a computer, I've listened with headphones, but I've never run a shuffle before. It is by far the simplest one to run. It's much easier than a TV remote. And everybody that I've talked to, and I'm in my upper 50s, most people that I've talked to that work here want to avoid it. They're scared to death of it. And so as I got to know it and teach them how to run it, they became more comfortable with it. But I had to ask questions, and I had to ask these, like, how do I do this? And what is, how do I do iTunes and that kind of thing? So don't be afraid to ask for help. Everybody I talk to, I say, make sure you have a younger person in your life. I organized iTunes. This is one thing that helped me, is I set up sampler lists. If you look over, oops, sorry about that. If you look over, well, here. If you look over here under samplers on the left side of the screen, you can see I've got a bunch of different samples. Get my hand off the mouse. And inside of each of those folders is about 4 songs in that genre. If you look in the center underneath of Raymond, you can see I have one category, which is Lutheran hymns, but then I have 2 sampler folders, and I would just drop those sampler folders in there. I know he likes Lutheran hymns, but I wanted to see if he liked barbershop or patriotic. If he did, then I would create a folder like over on the right-hand side that's a category all its own, like Beach Boys, country western, and you can see I still have sampler folders over there. That's just a way that I found that helps me to organize. I also learned how to print a playlist from iTunes. That was a challenge to me. I was dumping everything into Excel files, and that worked too, but this is much quicker. This will be online, so you can look this up later if you're interested. VoiceOver is another part of the iPods that is really, really important to be able to use. It was the most helpful thing. But a reminder to you that that has to be set up at the iPod level. When you're first setting up the iPod, you have to set up the VoiceOver feature. The other thing is get to know your iPod. There's all kinds of little buttons on there. They each have a purpose. And again, just spend some time with it. Use it yourself. Download some songs. Learn how to use it yourself. Selecting and purchasing music. One of the things that I did was I grew up in this community, so I knew some of the community musical history. One of the things that really, there were two things that really played into ours. First of all is that we had some churches in the area that did not allow dancing. One church allowed dancing, one church allowed playing cards, and there shall the twain meet. And so that affected the music that we thought that elders would like to listen to. A lot of the elders here are not interested in big band music because they grew up in the church that didn't dance. So that is something to find out. What's your community musical history? We had a lot of people also that we had electricity. They had wind generators to run the radios. So when they ran the radio, it was not for entertainment. It was to get the news and the markets, and that was it. So they didn't waste the electricity. So that's something to consider in the rural areas is when did you get electricity and what did you have a radio? Did you use it for anything else? One of the other features that I used is Spotify, which is a free download, and I would use that on a speaker and look up different genres and go play some sample songs in small listening groups of 4 or 5 people and talk about the music they were listening to and what do you remember about that. And that's how I found out some of these things about our community music choices. The other thing is to go to visit with the elders and see if they have CDs in their room. Ask to borrow them. Download those to your iTunes and then give them back their CDs, but then you already know what kind of music that elder likes. The other thing that was interesting is use the elder's language for the genre of music. If you don't know what cowboy music is, it's Roy Rogers, it's Gene Autry, it's Tex Ritter. Bohemian music was a challenge for me. And Hannah's sitting here going, yep, I know that one. And so, Hannah, tell them what Bohemian music is. It's polkas.
Oh, okay.
It was polkas. One lady asked for Bohemian music, and we had to figure out what that was. It was polkas to her. World War II music is another type of music that they ask for, and it's a lot of the camp songs, and there are a few really popular big band songs mixed in with that. One of the other things that I have found is that denominational music from churches is important to our elders. We have a strong Lutheran Church Missouri Synod background here, and we have elders who, if you put anything on their iPod other than LCMS hymns, they don't like it. They only want from their denomination. At Christmas time, ask families for iTunes gift cards. It's a gift that they can give to their elder, but it also is something that can't be lost, it can't be broken, and they can it can be shared with the whole facility. I wanted to talk about headphones too. I've heard several people say that headphones are a real issue for them. I don't think we've had any trouble, have we? No, none. And we did not use the earbuds with our elders. We used the headphones, and we just told them it was like earmuffs, and they just put them on. But before we put them, there's a couple things we did. If you look, you can see the name Jane W31 on the headphone. We put the label on the headphone so that when you put the headphone on from the front, you know you're putting it on correctly. If you look at the picture on the right, you'll see that the bulk of the headphone is to the back of the head. It doesn't look natural that way, but that's the way those headphones fit. So we put the name label on there, so when you're standing in front and holding the headphone, looking at the name, the headphones are going on correctly. The other thing that I taught the kids was to always put the headphone on themselves first and do a volume check so you're not blasting the elder out. And that sometimes I think scares them. And we would start out real low, right, and then turn the volume up. And then again, explain what you're doing when you put it on it. One of the things we've done with our dementia patients especially is to put the headphones on rather than have the cords hang in front of the chin, is to put the headphones on with the cord hanging behind the head so that they're not twisting and playing with the cord while they're listening. And we strongly, we did not use speakers with any of our elders, mostly because of the blocking out of the background noise. Music and Memory has got what you need to succeed, and you can do this in a small community. The CARE community site is brand new, and it's fantastic. It's got all kinds of information on there that you can use, and I strongly recommend that you go there and look it over, and as soon as you're certified, and get on there and find the information that applies to you and share the information that you have that works for you. A couple of the lessons that I've learned as a coordinator is, number one, to create a bus book as you go, or at least keep computer notes, because you never know when that bus is going to hit. Somebody is going to need the information that you have when you're not there to share it. A big one is don't prejudge musical tastes. we have one 75-year-old resident who was looking at a sheet with different names of groups on it. While she was listening, she said, "Oh, Rolling Stones, I like them." Well, this woman happens to ramble all the time, so you never know what she's saying is true or not. And the student was sharp enough to catch it and said something to me about it. So the next week we had Rolling Stones on her iPod, and we tried it out. That's the only music she wants to listen to now every week is the Rolling Stones. So don't prejudge. Start with a new computer if at all possible, and use it only for music and memory, because uploading the music to your computer will take a lot of memory and it will slow it down. The iPod shuffles have the smallest learning curve. That's by far the easiest one to use. So I wanted to put our contact information here. I'm available. Janelle's available. I can put you in touch with the girls. I can put you in touch with the FCCLA leader, the FCS teacher. But we've had great success, and we really strongly believe that any other small community can have just as big a success as we have. So, Barb, I'm going to turn it back over to you as soon as I figure out.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For that, and I am going to turn this over to Matt as our next presenter. So let me get that set up, and as soon as Matt shares his screen, we should be able to get going on that portion of our webinar. There we go. Hi, Matt.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
Going well.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. My name is Matt. I work at a skilled nursing facility, and we have a memory care unit, which is mostly severe dementia or Alzheimer's, which is where I have most of my music and memory program participants at the moment. First off, I kind of want to talk about the team aspect of music and memory. We started out by identifying the few residents that were mostly on the antipsychotic medication in order to help reduce as much as possible, as that was the big thing this year and the past couple of years to reduce antipsychotics. So I talked with CNAs and staff, interdisciplinary team, to really zone in on about 7 participants to begin. From there, it was more of went with the family approach. We asked residents as well what their favorite music was, what they used in the past. I mean, everything from if they could remember their favorite hymn, if they sang in choir, if they remember their wedding song. And then we also, on the back of the form that I used, is a list of genres, which included, like, let's say 60s rock, and then it would give you a list of artists that are popular, or that were popular. That way I can kind of get an idea of where to go from there. I asked family about bringing in CDs, iPod donations, MP3s. I mean, I really took any kind of music player, because at the time the shuffle was, some of my residents and family were more concerned about what are they actually listening to, what song are they hearing right now, as opposed to, because you can't see that on the shuffle itself. We started putting it on care plans. And now that I attended the care plan webinar, or the support call last week, topic call, we are going to start kind of adjusting the care plan. But basically we put information in the care plan where we thought it would be most beneficial to the resident. So such as like in a psychosocial care plan or a behavior care plan. as to where the time to use it. Myself, there was about 2 of us that really kind of took over to begin with. Mostly just I had used the CNA to help me with family members when I wasn't here to interview, get information, and then from there I began developing personalized playlists. We had a lot of CDs already here, so I downloaded those onto iTunes. And then every week I would kind of update the playlist as needed based on staff report on whether they liked it or not. Let's say if this one song they just sang all day long, I would put that song on the music player 10 times in random spots. From there, that's when I would start you kind of had to be gentle at first on introducing the music player. It's not really something that you can just walk up to somebody and throw headphones on in the Alzheimer unit. So you really need to get that connected approach where you get down on their eye level, look at them, smile, tell them what you're doing. Got this amazing music that your family helps me pick out. And usually from there, they don't have any issues. They love to try it. And I've had quite a few residents, the minute it goes on, they just start singing. And it is the most amazing thing you'll ever experience. From there, I've kind of gone through different assessments/feedback forms to kind of figure out when sessions are started or when behaviors are needed, when we can use the player itself for that. And that's where the CNAs come in hand, and they've kind of given me a lot of advice on the type of feedback form that they find most useful. Benefits that we've had, of course, is the antipsychotic reduction and anti-anxiety. I've also used it on residents that are depressed. Music is just an amazing thing. It can hit every part of your brain. And I would suggest taking a look at a YouTube video called Tango Brain, which is shows the brain light up of a Alzheimer's patient listening to Argentinian tango, and it is fascinating. And I heard that from the Wisconsin Music and Memory panel that came to the American Music Therapy conference a few months ago. Of course, we're really looking for that engagement, like not necessarily where they're just going to wake up and start talking, but I've noticed during my recreational therapy sessions that you can listen to the music and do a very, very extravagant session of, let's say, coloring or art therapy, playing a game, reminiscing. The reminiscing aspect is phenomenal. You'll hear stories and things that haven't come out in quite a while, and I'll tell family about it, and they're like, that is dead on. That is exactly the way it happened. So family is starting to see it as well, and it's just everybody benefits. There's no bad effect from what I've seen so far. It is helping with resistance to care, like ADLs, using them before showers. The therapy department here sends me referrals quite frequently as to putting somebody that they have right now, like the physical therapy department, occupational therapy department, may struggle with getting someone to participate in a therapy session, a full therapy session, and they'll come over to me and they'll say, "What would you think about trying music and memory on so and so?" And I'll say, "Well, what's going on?" And they'll just let me know he or she is just battling, kind of won't relax enough, to work muscles, and I'll get a playlist together, a sample playlist, and we will try it that day, and if it seems to work, which it usually does, which is great, and then I'll start talking with family members and staff, and we'll get them one of their own MP3 players. So it is being used across the facility with great outcomes. Of course, starting the program was, there were a few obstacles, which can happen. The main thing is culture change. And it's hard to remember that culture change is a process. It won't just change overnight. And you really need to let staff understand that it's like a plant. You have to water it constantly to make it work. And so the main thing I focus on is whenever a small achievement has occurred, let's say they smiled during listening to music, I'll make a big deal out of that. And then the nursing staff will see kind of where that difference is. And then, let's say a week later, they start singing a song. And then that's where they really love it, is when the residents sing songs. And so then now I start getting the staff more involved, where they want to actually put the headphones on as much as possible rather than just waiting for me to come around, which is great. I mean, that's what we've been working towards. The one thing the staff has helped me with a lot is deciding on headphones. Well, because right now I avoid the earbuds since those things are so hard to figure out what will fit. So I use the same headphones that Martha there was showing, as well as I'm kind of looking into maybe over-the-ear headphones that are more noise canceling, considering that a lot of the residents we currently have are very hard of hearing or have a hearing aid. So we're going to kind of try that, see how that kind of goes. I've noticed a lot of them struggle with being able to get it loud enough when they just wear the regular headphones. So this is kind of going to be a new option I'm going to try as an approach, which I think will be a good alternative as well for certain residents. One of the biggest obstacles we are having is the feedback forms, so I can be sure that I know who's using it or how often. So I've gone through about 3 feedback forms, which included things such as, before you put it on, which kind of smiley face were they? Were they angry, sad? Were they happy and they just wanted to listen to it? And I've done a few different of those type of feedback forms. And then I went from those to a feedback form that staff helped me compose, which was a numbering system that based itself off of 1 through 10, and you circle what was happening at the time, such as they just needed a quiet moment, they were restless, they were getting ready for a shower, and then they can leave a comment underneath that. That was working very well for quite a while, and then we started having a few issues again on getting them filled out. So I'm constantly looking for ways to change, make it easier for staff, get their advice on how they would like to store the items, fill out information that might be pertinent to each individual playlist. So I think I've gone from using it in the med cart, keeping the music players in the med cart, which became an issue because you had to have the nurse unlock it. And then now I have them in plastic bins, which is working better. But I think I've gotten a lot of ideas for using a pegboard similar to Martha's, where we can have the headphones hanging right there by a charging station to be sure that they're getting charged every day. So that's where we're headed right now, and staff is tremendous. They love the benefits. It's just the training is ongoing, and I train during orientation every week on the music and memory benefits, how to initiate it, how to contact me, let them know where I keep laptop we use, in case somebody would like to add something during the day, they can. From there, it's been just fantastic the way staff is starting to take more of their own approach. Then I was just wanting to kind of end it here, let you guys know this is my contact information. Please, please, please don't be afraid to call, email, anything. I am here to help however I can. So send me an email if you have a question, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Just don't be afraid. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. We are excited. I told you all I knew that Stephanie Hoffman from Music and Memory would make it. I was sure of it, and she has. So right now, what I'd like to do would be to kind of open this up for questions. Unless, Stephanie, did you have anything you wanted to say before we did that? Or
no, what phenomenal. I think you might be able to hear me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm sorry for the delay, y'all. I have some traffic issues. What phenomenal presentations from both Martha and Matt. Wow, the students, Hannah, Maggie, and Caitlin, wow, incredible work. I was just talking to Barbara about how we'd love to share this with Dan Cohen. I think he'd be very proud of you guys, as I am. So thank you all for the wonderful overview. I'm happy to answer any questions that pop up into our questions box. There is no dumb question. So in fact, a lot of people can learn from anything that you type in. So I'm happy to be here. Congratulations, Martha, 0% use of antipsychs. My goodness gracious, so amazing. Use of volunteers, your fundraising. I love your control groups. The newness that you have with your iPod Shuffle, I know that feeling. YouTube is an amazing tool as well to help you get to know things. So, Matt, wow, you've got some amazing interdisciplinary teamwork at your facility and your care plans. Happy to hear that you spoke about the topic call that Robin Lombardo did. And I would be happy if there aren't as many questions, and I'd be happy to show my screen of the CARE community to show you exactly where to locate any of our topic calls or any of our support calls.
I think that'd be great, Stephanie. If we don't get any questions, but right now we don't, so I think we could maybe do that and then start to answer some more questions.
Okay. Just thought for those that aren't familiar with asking questions, you've got all of your instructions right here on the screen. It's a great slide.
I'm gonna make you a presenter, Stephanie.
A presenter.
You can share your.
Okay.
Screen. We do have a question.
Okay.
A question that is, how can I sign up other staff to attend the 3-day webinar after they've been certified? That's kind of a good question for you.
It's a great question. Basically what you'll do is go into the section of our website that says Get Trained, and you'll just sign your folks up, and in your comments area, just put the month that you originally were trained, and then sign up the others for that. And Alex up in our New York office would be happy to help you out.
Okay.
It's a great point, and any of your new employees can sign up to go ahead and go through the webinar trainings. That's just an added value that we're trying to give you to keep all of your newer folks certified, get them up to speed to where everybody else is.
Certainly.
A lot of people do their new employee handout or new employee training. They will make that a piece of it. Can you all see my screen?
I certainly can, so I'm going to assume that the rest of our group can.
Okay. Good. Great. I'll get some of the other things off my, my screen. So if you're just starting out and you're trying to follow along as to what both Matt and Martha shared, we have a lot of information in the Getting Started guide. I just want to make sure that you're aware that that is there. And you download the whole guide. You can print it out and add it to your book or just view it online. And if you go over to the Welcome to the Music and Memory Care community, you'll see the support calls listed here, and you just type on that and you will see ways of signing up. It actually adds it right down here to your bottom left. It'll give you the support calls. Let's see if I can pull that up for you. There it is. And a lot of times these are preparing for certification and post-certification calls that are happening on this list. Either one of those is going to give you the nuts and bolts, the music and memory program. So you can see all of the dates here, and the regional director that's going to be hosting it for you. The way to sign up is you just put your little arrow right over it and click on that, and it will allow you to sign up for it. So going back here to the main music and memory page, the home page, if you go down to the topic calls, you'll see a number of different calls, obviously topics. And that is one that Matt talked about for the care plans. He actually went to this 421 call online and learned a little bit more about best practices with care plans. So as you can see, if you just on this and click on that, it'll pull up a way for you to go ahead and sign up for each one of those. The next one coming up is May 26th, and that's Programs Approach, Benefits, and Varied Care Environments. So this is going to be listed there for you. The beautiful thing about the care community is it's available 24/7 for you to learn about all of the different resources that are out there as well.
Stephanie, we have a question about volunteers. One of the facilities is saying they're wanting to get more information about involving volunteers. And so I did notice that one of the topic calls was about volunteers, so I wondered if that was recorded somewhere. Or it seemed to me that I thought there were some other resources on the Care Community website about that topic. Can you help me with that?
There are, yes. And just coming back over here to the topic calls so that y'all have it, you can always go on here and sign up for the volunteer involvement has passed However, I know that our volunteer department is creating new calls, and they will list those as they become available. On the care community side, one of my favorite resources to give people is actually the Music and Memory site for volunteers, primarily because it has a wide array of, and I'll go there real quickly. It has a wide array of options for volunteers, and that can be from fundraising to being a volunteer ambassador. This is the Music and Memory org, is right here. So let's just say there were a number of folks that had questions about what to do as a volunteer. If you click on that, this is for anyone who doesn't have access to the care community. I like to just point this out so that you can spread this around your community. So it goes through various pieces, iPod donation drives, where are all of our certified facilities, how to run an iPod donation drive, the service project guide, using Razoo, and also GoFundMe as a way to raise funds. So you'll see all of those pieces here, and anyone that wants to help you get an actual nursing home signed up for a long-term care facility. So that's that. Going back over there to the, let's see here, care community. When you look at some of the different community forums, you'll see what other locations, other certified facilities have done on various topics. Volunteering is one of those. So you'll see a whole lot of the various different topics here. And it goes over to the next page as well. And then you also have groups. So these are certified facilities that can give you good information on what they've done with therapeutic life enrichment, adult day, getting started, promotion, there's volunteer, there it is, and social engagement. So you can add yourself as members of that and give others good information. I know Hannah, Maggie, and Caitlin, along with Martha, could probably give some great pointers being a part of this group to discuss volunteer and student engagement in your community. I'm excited to hear about FCCLA. I think that's what it's called. Down here in Texas, we use HOSA, Health Occupation Students of America, is a big student group down here on this side. If you ever need an actual tour, a video tour of Care Community and what is available, you can take one of those on here as well. I feel like I kind of went all around your question there. Was there?
I don't know if that answers the question for that person or not. But I do have a couple of more questions. I've got somebody that's raised their hand and would like to ask a question as well, so I'd like to try to get to those. There's someone that's asking about, they've been through the training, it appears. We did the 3-day class and want to know how much longer it's going to be before they're certified. And I believe they're certified at this point.
Yes.
So I'm assuming they're asking, I've got several facilities that have emailed me before today asking about the care community and getting that so that they can get their certificates and have that done. And so I've been sending those folks to the email address that I believe you gave me, Stephanie, and that's care questions, all one word, at musicandmemory.org. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. Care questions at musicandmemory.org.
So
and just to...
I'm sorry, Stephanie.
Oh, no, that's good. Just to let you know, we have to give them, because there's a large number of folks that are becoming certified, we need to give them at least 10 days from the last date of your certification to get that access to Care Community for you. And basically we are sending it out to the email address that is associated with your facility. So, and from there, you can invite many others once you gain your access code. If it's been past 10 days, please email Care Questions so that they can look into why you haven't received your access just yet.
Okay. I'm going to unmute Crystal. Crystal, you've had your hand up, so I was wanting to hear what your question was. Can you hear me, Crystal?
Yeah, she actually just answered my question. It was about the care community.
Okay, great, great.
Thanks for your question, Crystal.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question about how long it will take for their facility to appear on the list of certified facilities. And I don't know the answer to that. On your, I assume
Okay.
your website, is that, if that's not correct, let me know from the person who's asked the question, but that's my assumption.
Okay. And to answer that question, we try to get those updated as quickly as we possibly can. I would give it a month so that we can get everybody in order. I think we'd probably be safe with a month before you're listed up on the main Music and Memory website.
Missed a question earlier. We had someone that asked about accepting donations. I think the concern was that they're a for-profit and wasn't clear that they would be able to accept donations from folks. That's something I'm not sure that I could talk about whether or not they can or can't accept donations. But certainly family members can give the gift of music to their own loved ones at the very least. But I'd encourage you to talk to your administrator and clarify whether or not that's an issue or not.
Absolutely. And just to give you a little bit of an idea, we have had that question come up before, even as a nonprofit, depending on what they are listed as, a 501c3, what type of nonprofit it is. For the for-profits, we are happy to serve as a bridge for that, if that will help you. A lot of times, especially when you're dealing with schools, as doing the fundraising, the donations will go to that or a different nonprofit organization that will go to that and then turn into music for the people in your community. Also, fundraising to buy more iPods. They can adopt different people within your facility as well.
Well, great, great.
Let's just go straight to them.
Thank you for answering that.
Mm-hmm.
When will access codes be sent out? I assume, again, that's for the care communities. If that's not what you're asking, then you might want to clarify in the chat box or raise your hand and we can talk. But I believe, if I understood, and make sure that I understood correctly, that the expectation is that it takes a good 10 days for that to happen. And if you have not gotten an email from Music and Memory with that information for accessing the Care Communities website, that's a time when you would use that email address that I gave, carequestions@musicandmemory.org, and explain to them when you took the certification class and ask about getting access to that. I think that answered the question. So good. So if you have other questions, don't hesitate, again, as I said earlier, to reach out to someone, to me, to Music and Memory folks, to your regional ombudsman. Now you've got a couple of more contacts with Matt and with Martha, who have graciously given their contact information as well. If you've got questions of them, don't hesitate to use all of us, because we are all very anxious and wanting you all to be as successful as you can in your buildings with this project. So thank you all for joining us today, and thank you very much, Stephanie, for joining us. Thank you, Matt and Martha, and for your folks there, your young women at and part of your volunteer group, Martha, that were able to come as well. I appreciate their being a part of this. I'm sure they were missing something important at school, but they were very gracious to give that up. And want to thank you, and we will talk with you next month. But again, don't hesitate to reach out to me before then. Talk to you later.
Yes, thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.